we've gotten to a point in the life of our city that there are multiple things happening. It's not a matter of what are we going to do tonight, it's which thing are we going to do tonight. And in order for us to continue with the same nature and character and intensity as we have in the past, we have to foster the attitude among all those events and all those coordinators and all those people running those things. We have to foster the attitude of we all rise together, we all win.
Hi, I'm Cayla Lewis and I am the Executive Director of the Plaza District. The Plaza District is an arts and cultural district in the heart of Oklahoma City. We are on 16th Street from Classen and Penn, and just a nice little niche neighborhood in the middle of our thriving city. There are local businesses everywhere, restaurants, retail, anything that you can need, we have right here.
My favorite thing about the Plaza District is that we work together as a community down here. We're all very neighborly. If someone needs something, we ask our neighbors down here first, and I think that's something that's really special about our neighborhood.
It's, you know, such an eclectic area, kind of letting everybody do anything. Music, whether you want to, you know, religion or art or food. I mean, you got to pray to one of those, so, or all of them. So I think this is an amazing area to do it in.
I dare say you can't find a more local district in Oklahoma City. Well, every business down here is local. It's owned by someone local. It's a small independent business. In almost every case, the owners live within a few miles of here.
My name is Rachael Taylor, and I am the Executive Director of the Western Avenue Association. Western Avenue is an eclectic district. It's actually one of the larger districts in Oklahoma City. It runs from Northwest 36th Street all the way up to Wilshire in Nichols Hills. And it runs the length of Western Avenue, also includes Class and Curve and Nichols Hills Plaza, as well as a few other smaller retail locations off of Western Avenue. It's kind of a mix of luxury and high-end when you're in the Nichols Hills area, and down to an eclectic kind of historical area closer to the Will Rogers Theater.
People should come to Western because they're eclectic shops, they're different restaurants that you can visit. You can buy antiques, you can get your hair done, you can buy flowers, you know, anything that you really want to do that you would do in a mall, you can do anywhere along Western Avenue. And the people are, you know, the money that you spend here stays in Oklahoma City.
It's also a district that focuses on a kind of forward-thinking mindset. There are a lot of really smart businessmen and seasoned you know, business practices that are happening. A lot of districts are really young districts, and they're young people like myself jumping in and just trying to make it happen. I was drawn to this district because of its heritage, because of its longevity, because it has a lasting quality, and there are a lot of really smart people in this district.
My name is Doug Sorocco. I'm an intellectual property attorney here with Dunlap Cotting. Film Row is kind of an interesting district. We kind of straddle the edge of the western edge of downtown. And what I would say is it's a growing district. It hasn't exactly fit in for itself yet or determined what it's going to be. It's kind of in those adolescent years where you have a lot of businesses, professional businesses, you have some retail, some obvious restaurants, the IAO gallery, with artistic, people coming in and out. And then we're waiting to see the impact of the new 21C museum and hotel at the end. So it's kind of a very eclectic mix of people. And then obviously we have the homeless shelters that bring in another demographic, and the school over at John Rex with the school children. So it's an ever-evolving mix. I wouldn't say there's a particular demographic that you typically find down here, which is very exciting.
Our favorite part of being in the Film Row District, probably the fact that we're surrounded by the history of Film Row. We're in the Paramount building. Kitty corner from us was what used to be the Warner Brothers building. Across the street used to be MGM, and across the street the other way used to be the Film Exchange. And so George and I, being film lovers and cinema lovers, we really like being surrounded by that history.
My favorite part about being here is when we first moved in, we moved from printing in my garage, and so we went from virtually no exposure to anybody around to being in the middle of a very vibrant culture. There's a lot of good businesses down here, a lot of good food, a lot of good other retail, and so it's been a good way for us to really network and to get out there.
Oklahoma City Film Row is one of 37 film exchanges that once dotted the United States. We're the only one left standing completely intact with our history. We still had a business in operation when we started this endeavor in 2003 through the Oklahoma Theater Supply Company, Maxine Peak. They'd actually been in business since 1930. We were able to gather a lot of history from them, and luckily found a lot of images that have been captured through the decades through the Oklahoma Historical Society and various private collections. Through those images and newspaper articles and other things, we were able to uncover an amazing tale of a set of structures built down here by the film studios back in the 1920s and 30s. And at one point, every movie studio was represented here on Film Row except for Walt Disney, which was still in its infancy. A film exchange was a place where a studio would distribute its movies. So once they made a film, it's kind of like the Blockbuster of its time. It had to release that out to the public. And so theater owners would come into this area and they would rent and or lease those films and show them in their theaters. Film Row eventually evolved into a one-stop shop for all theater owners, so they could come down here and buy everything from popcorn machines and chairs and carpets for a new theater to entire projection rooms, because one would burst up into flame every few months.
You had movie premieres that were happening, you had stars that were coming into the area, and really when you look at some of the places like the Paramount down the street, that they still have a screening theater in there. And if you think about it, about how those movie stars were coming in and interacting with those theater owners, it was a mini little Hollywood to a certain extent.
Western Avenue was part of Route 66 for a period of time. It moved around the city quite a bit, 23rd, 39th, and part of it was on Western Avenue, part of it was on Lincoln. And there were a lot of people that traveled through here. For instance, the Will Rogers Theater was built in 1946 and opened in September of that year. And it was one of the first suburban, at that time, movie theaters. And so there's a lot of history here that people just aren't aware of.
Plaza District Association formed in the early 2000s as a nonprofit, a group of people in the neighborhood on either side. We have Gatewood and Class and Tin Pin on either side of us. Really cared about the neighborhood and wanted to see it grow. It had gone kind of in some disrepair in the late 70s. Before that was a thriving district, a thriving commercial district. It was the beginning of a trolley line, which is pretty exciting. So we have a lot of rich history here, but over the course of those several years, there was a decline, and we had become a bit of a blight.
Change in technology led to the demise of Film Row. In place of rail, we had airplanes. The highways were becoming more, so we could transport films differently. The film stock itself, which was a very flammable base at the time, its technology changed as well, making it safer to transport on aircraft at the time.
These places that were, I would say, function specific, it was specifically built with film in mind. As that changed, the buildings kind of started to fall in what I would say kind of disrepair, or they were abandoned, or they couldn't find owners. And over time, those broken windows, those, crooked streets, cracked sidewalks, it all kind of spirals downward to the point where this was, probably as late as maybe just 10 years ago, this was considered Skid Row. This was where the prostitutes and drug users and things like that were hanging out. And you certainly wouldn't be caught dead here after dark, so.
We started meeting kind of in secret in the basement of Stage Center because the area of town that we were talking about, we didn't want people thinking that we were crazy. Luckily, we never got that from all the people who were involved. We had a lot of people came through our Film District Task Force, as we'll call it, this development think tank. They came through the basement meetings with us, bringing ideas, and there was a lot of open thinking. And that unfolded to eventually letting the cat out of the bag in 2006 through a city charrette planning. This allowed the public to kind of see what the idea was, get their input, if this is something that they wanted and embraced, and they were wholeheartedly involved right from the get-go.
Chip Fudge, who's a property developer and business owner down here in the district, he started picking up some of the property, some of the industrial buildings in the area, and as a believer in history and to revitalize older buildings, it was his plan to say, well, let's start doing these buildings one by one, bringing in some restaurants, bringing in some, the art gallery, IAO art gallery that's down here, and really kind of built it up. And really that was in a partnership with the city, which was looking to say, how could we improve the infrastructure of the city?
The Western Avenue Association got started really before we opened Sushineko, which was in '97. And Chris Lauer and Kurt Fleischfresser had several restaurants up and down the street, and they began to call it Restaurant Row. There's no formal association, there was nothing really defined about it, but it got a name in the city, and so from that we started the Western Avenue Association, I believe in the year 2000 or so. And from meager beginnings of about 6 or 8 people, it's grown to 60, 80, 90 businesses through the years.
Like I said, in the early 2000s, we got a streetscape, which was really exciting, and businesses like Lyric Theater started coming in. That was a huge deal because we really do pride ourselves on being an arts and cultural district, and having a theater such as Lyric Theater in the area was really exciting. Then after that, other businesses started coming. We had a photo studio come in, a dance studio come in. These sort of businesses that really give us the culture of the district.
I don't think there was a lot of effort to remove anything that would be considered negative. It was more focusing on bringing positive into the area. So places that were vacant, we worked to find people to fill them, artists that were willing to come down here and open up a studio or a gallery. It was really just building on the opportunity that was here. I don't think there was a lot of effort to fight crime or to clean up the area. It's really just people working together and taking over a space and making it better.
Money really started coming in through private means. The businesses coming down here or wanting to invest in the area. It was all through private enterprise. And that's something that we learned from the very beginning. If you're going to start a district, you cannot expect a city or a town to pay for that. It was just not in their books.
One of the big reasons that the Plaza District has grown is through the investment that people have given in the area. We've had developers that have really given a lot of care and believed in the area. Small business owners were able to come here because rent was relatively cheap as we were up and coming, and they took it upon themselves to kind of make this area something.
When we first came down, we knew we needed to help revitalize the neighborhood. So the first thing we did is restore the neon sign. And it wasn't so much because we wanted the neon sign to promote the business, it was because we knew that would help invite new people down here and set a new standard for what a business should look like down here. And the Neon did it. And within 6 months, people were buying the buildings. So definitely, if I was doing this all over again, that's what I would do, is the facade of the building and whatever signage, get it looking as the highest standard as possible, and let everybody else come in and catch up.
Just improving the overall appearance does give people a sense of ownership, and does, I feel like, lends itself to other people respecting the area. People are no longer just running rampant because they know that this is a place that people care about.
Over 13 years it has taken us to get to this point. And now when you walk down here, it's like people who walk down the street and park their expensive cars on the side. It's like this is just a very natural thing to them. And I remember when people would drive through this area and they would put blinders on and they'd say, okay, it doesn't exist, I'm not going to look, I'm not going to be afraid. And my fear was one day they would take those blinders off and it really wouldn't exist. That it would have all been torn down and something else develop and or just be an open area. So I'm very glad to see what it has become. And I'm also thrilled knowing what it's going to yet become.
If you're going to talk to the average person in the population, and you ask them what's H&A, they say it's food trucks, live music. Okay, that's great. The reality is it's not food trucks, live music. That's just a piece. We're a city right now, or a city at that point especially, we're a city that we wanted a good excuse to hang out together. We wanted a reason to be together. We wanted a reason to bump into each other. We wanted a reason to see our friends. The conversation at that point was, it's Friday night, what are we gonna do?
Live on the Plaza is our second Friday art walk. Happens every month, rain or shine, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. It's just like a big block party, if you can think of it. All of our businesses stay open late, restaurants stay open late, lots of deals, specials, that kind of thing. And we have lots of other programming. We love to partner with other nonprofits and give them kind of a chance to shine as well as we get to shine. We try to incorporate lots of family-friendly activities because this is definitely a family-friendly neighborhood. On Live on the Plaza, there's really something for everyone every month, no matter what.
The Exchange is a monthly gathering of people, basically makers, creators, crafters, musicians, artists, coming down here to Film Row to share with the community what they're doing.
The Exchange on Film Row is an opportunity for local merchants, local breweries, people of all kinds to come out and enjoy the local scene and local businesses that Oklahoma has to offer. It's booming right now. I'm super happy to be a part of it all. Live music, food trucks, all kinds of good stuff.
My favorite part about the Exchange is just the diversity. I think it really represents Oklahoma City and really the state, just because there's so many different types of creative people that are doing amazing things that I'm personally inspired by. So that was a big thing for us to really bring those people together.
Westfest is our annual music festival. Westfest came about when we actually polled our patrons and the people that spend the time in the district, asked them what they really wanted from us, what kind of event they wanted to see. And they said, we really want to see a street festival. So then from there, we just kind of took it further to a music festival. And we put a call to committee, and we had about 40 people asked to be a part of it the first year. And so 40 people helped plan and prep this event, and it went off without a hitch. And so the second year, we just did the same thing. We added a second stage and kind of made it a bigger event.
Definitely like the best of Oklahoma, like so many really cool bands, like Fiona Forte coming down from Tulsa. We got people coming from out of town. David Ramirez headlining. I'm super stoked for that. That's gonna be chill.
Well, and I also think it's really cool how they highlight such a dynamic and iconic area of OKC, like with the Will Rogers Theater and everything.
For
just
sure.
like utilizing the space. It's really a cool way to celebrate this area.
I'm kind of taken aback by how chill everybody is. Like, I know it's a festival, but everybody's just real calm, kind of like walking up and down the street. And
oh man, Westfest is awesome. Just the whole city block kind of taken over with food trucks and music and really cool events.
It's a really cool event. Yeah, I don't know, that was bad.
It's perfect. No, I came last year as a patron and community member, and saw dear people, saw tons of people that, yeah, you don't always get to see all in one place. So Westfest is amazing because it brings all these different types of music together. Very eclectic. Yeah, you're hearing all kinds of different music today also, so.
Live on the Plaza started as a way for the businesses in the area to really celebrate what was already happening. You know, cool things were happening. There were art shows, art events happening. People were wanting to do deals and things like that. And Live on the Plaza was a way for all that to happen on one night. Why not have a yearly event if we have a monthly one? We want people to come here as much as possible. Plaza Festival is our annual festival. It's like Live on the Plaza times 50. We close the street down. We have artists lining the whole all of 16th, which is pretty exciting. It's a way for artists to be able to showcase their work outside of the stores and really highlight the talent that's in here. We also have live music, and then we always have kids activities, some art education activities, which is nice to be able to kind of expand on our arts and cultural district feel.
My favorite part of the Plaza Festival would have to be the music. I always get put on somebody new every year. I start listening like, wow, this is in my backyard. When I want to see them live, I can just drive 10, 15 minutes and go see them, which is amazing.
The murals are getting
crazy.
I'm liking the murals as well.
One of the things, whenever we first started H&A, and the reason we started it was kind of to introduce people to this area that there wasn't really very much happening. Like it was kind of a wasteland. We're kind of the space in between. It's like there's things happening kind of in the Plaza District, which they're amazing and really beautiful things have been happening over there. But there's not really a whole lot that's happening downtown during the evenings, during the nights. So we decided, hey, this is a great way that we can introduce people to the area. We can introduce people to kind of the great food trucks that are happening here in Oklahoma City. Some of the great local artists that are playing original music in Oklahoma City. So it was an attempt to introduce people to all things local.
A good community event really needs to highlight what is already there.
And I also feel like having easy food options, whether that's from a food truck or it comes from the restaurants that are in the district. If food can be provided in an easy kind of takeaway option, that's usually best for an event.
A good community event would be something that's offered to a wide range of people. It's also free, and there's things for everyone to do, between children's activities, music, and food. Things that people can just come and enjoy and maybe see something that they haven't seen before.
That with the Plaza District and with Live on the Plaza, with Plaza Festival, we're not reinventing the wheel or anything here. We're just highlighting our businesses, we're highlighting artists in the area, we're highlighting the talent that already exists in Oklahoma City.
And with the food trucks, you know, to perhaps experience something new, you know, whether it's ramen or a hot dog done in a different way, or, you know, all the different barbecue trucks that show up.
The food trucks during Live on the Plaza do work pretty well because we are sensitive to the restaurants that are here, but we also know that sometimes people just want to walk around. But the good part about food trucks is at the end of the night, they are gone and the restaurants are still open, so you can go to a restaurant, drink with your friends, hang out a little bit, continue the party if you need to. So it does really benefit everyone.
I think a challenge that a lot of events have, especially in districts, is that they all kind of feel the same. But what makes a good event is really finding the niche of what's special about your area, of your district, of your community, and highlighting that at your events.
The measuring stick of great events is, are we trying to throw a party, or are we trying to do something that benefits everybody?
A good community event should also serve a function, and for us, the Passaic Arts District, it's featuring the arts.
When you have that kind of higher calling, that I think that people then kind of respond to and are interested in participating, and that's really when you start making friends and meeting new people. They're kind of called to, or, you know, kind of attracted to that idea that, you know, I'm not just going to go and have some entertainment for the evening, but maybe I'll learn something new, or I can offer some help, or maybe I meet somebody that could help me.
We want to have themes that highlight the area, but also something that gives someone a reason to come down. They may have come last month and they want something different. So we try and give them something different each month that really highlights something unique in the district.
The theme nights typically had some problems because, you know, if you're hoping for, you know, 100 Dorothys to show up in costume to meet some type of effort, that's not going to happen.
Let's not make the assumptions that because it works in one place, it works in every place. Instead, let's start from the premise of what are we great at?
I think that entertainment is important. It seems to be the thing that drives a lot of attention to the events, whether it be music or something like dance or something else like that.
We don't want to overprogram things. We don't want to overthink things. We want it to be equitable for everybody involved.
This past Live on the Plaza, we did PlazaCon, and that was one of our biggest attended Live on the Plazas, and that was the live following Plaza Festival. So I don't think it serves as an issue. If anything, people come to festival and they get excited again about the district, and so they want to keep coming back. They want to come to the next live. They want to come to the next big thing that's happening here.
Heard on Herd in the beginning was inspired by what was happening with H&H, but the long-term goal and vision of it wasn't to create another thing just like us. That's not the goal. The goal isn't to do something exactly like us. The goal is, here's our starting point, and let's be smart as it develops and grows and kind of evolves. Let's be smart enough to let it evolve.
Heard on Her wouldn't be possible without the great community of brotherhood that festivals have in Oklahoma. There's such a great unselfishness when you look at the organizers of H&H, and whenever we were planning Heard on Her, they were so unselfish in sharing their lessons learned and what they could do better and successes they had, so we could ensure that Heard on Her had the best step forward. And you see that with 23rd Street and the Plaza District and Western Avenue. Everybody is just about celebrating our communities and going for the collective good.
Brian Bergman was a huge part of the making of Heard on Herd, and his model of H&H was something that really invigorated us in Edmond to bring something special and a street festival, kind of show the specialness of Edmond. And definitely Brian and H&H is an awesome event, and the fact that he says that all events have different shapes is so true. And we're not trying to be downtown, and we want to put our stake in the ground and say that we are Edmond and this is what Edmond is like. So we really hope that people get that vibe when they come to Heard on Herd.
When you look at Heard on Herd and its local economic impact, it is pretty incredible to see with just what a small gathering planned by just a little company can have on a city.
So much of the work happens in advance, and whenever you kind of knock out the work in advance, once you get there, you're shaking hands and kissing babies. You're really like, you just kind of act as the mayor. You're walking around making sure that you're just trying to be available so that if there's a problem, you're there to take care of it. The plan is take care of everything in advance. That way whenever you get there, what you're doing is you're being with people, you're watching, you're paying attention, you're seeing the way the event's running, and you're able to take notes to improve it for the next month.
For us, we start planning as soon as the last event is over.
Going into the planning, it just becomes a major kind of organizational effort to make sure that everybody kind of knows what everyone else is doing. There's no stepping on toes, but yet allowing that creativity and freedom for people to express themselves in the way they wish.
There are 50 things that we just gave a framework for, because some of the best things that happened were street musicians that popped up on the corner that we didn't schedule. Some of the most beautiful things that happened were the things that only 200 people got to do. You know, you got short order poems. One of my favorite things about the event. It's one of my favorite things because it was so legitimately honest and interesting and creative and fun and beautiful. And it was a great way for this small crowd of people to be able to interact with creativity in Oklahoma City.
Businesses are the heart of the district. You know, the community is important, but the businesses are what is driving that community to come to the district.
There has to be a reason for people to come down to the district. It's that people don't come down to just look at a building. They don't come down to touch the brick. They come down because they want to buy a good, they want to buy a service, they want to interact in some way. So if the businesses weren't here, I don't think there really would be a need for the district.
The best kind of business to have, I think, are the active ones. The ones that want to be involved in the area, that want to participate in live, that want to participate in festival, the ones that are being a part of the community and not just kind of serving themselves.
I don't think there's any best kind of business. I really, I think that restaurants bring in a lot of the foot traffic and easy retail brings in a lot of foot traffic, but I really enjoy having service businesses in my district because those are where you get like your loyal comeback customers, and they end up kind of exploring the rest of the district.
We had a Day of the Dead festival, which was put on primarily by 3 of our business owners. They really took what they were interested in, and we had more people than we ever have just on it was on a Sunday. We have more people than we have live on the plaza sometimes.
Our Day of the Dead festival is put on by me and Max from Bomb Shelter and Shelly from Folk Life. It's just 3 of the businesses down here. We started it the year before last and only had about 50 people come out to it for that year. But this year we got together, spent a little more time on it, and we had 6,000 people come out, so it was great growth. We work on our own budget. We have no corporate sponsors. We just $300 out of each of our own pockets is what we used this year, and it turned out really great, you know, even with just that.
The best type of businesses to have to help with the district, I think, are those that are flexible, are creative, and are really run by people who have passion for what they're doing, because that passion is always going to spill over into whatever is happening.
If I can compare the plaza businesses to like a huge bouquet of flowers. Each one on its own is beautiful and awesome, but we come together to make this huge arrangement, this beautiful thing.
The district helps a business, I think, by amplifying their message. You know, it's not interested in promoting any one particular business, it's interested in promoting the district as a whole. And the ability to do that is going to rebound to the businesses themselves, because it's going to increase foot traffic, it's going to increase notoriety, it's going to increase interest in people coming down here. And frankly, you know, you don't always necessarily want the same people coming down here all the time.
The Plaza District Association serves to bring more people to the area. We are constantly trying to make sure the area is looking its best through street cleaning, that types of things, managing the actual landscape of the area.
The district helps a business out by being a liaison to a lot of different things for the business, like maybe to the city, maybe to the community and the neighborhood or the public when it comes to marketing. You can't please everybody, but we try, and our top goal is to please actually the business owners. That is what our district exists for, is to bring business to business owners.
You know, the arts impact our communities, they impact education, the economy, and kind of community cohesion. I mean, one of the most obvious ways is pride. You see something like a Norman Music Festival or another public gathering like that that's focused on local art, and people are proud. They're glad to be connecting with each other. But then there's the economic return. So for every dollar that's spent on the arts, there's money that comes back into our communities from visitors, from extra spending.
Public art is important because it's free and because it's accessible, and you don't have to be the who's who. You don't have to have a lot of money. You don't have to, you know, you don't have to have a membership to the MoMA or the Met to see it.
Plaza walls are a rotating art mural in the backside of Dig It to Bad Brains. It's a giant wall of art, essentially. The plaza walls are curated by artists Dylan Bradway and Christopher Canelli. They invite local artists to come and throw up their work on the walls, which formerly could be called graffiti or something like that, but they've really given a lot of respect to the walls in this space, and there's a wide variety of artists back there. It's fun to see something unique every time you come, every time you walk back there.
The Western Avenue murals are a celebration of art in Oklahoma City, and they really have created a destination So, you know, before nobody would come to a parking lot like this unless they were going into the building here.
I will say the Plaza Walls has been really beneficial to the area, because that has previously been an area where some shady things have happened just because it's not well lit, and it's an alley essentially. But now there's been a lot of care given to that area. There's being more lighting back there, so it makes it a lot safer and does give a reason people to keep walking around.
Oftentimes I will see people posing in front of the murals, taking selfies. They tag them on social media. You know, I will just be scrolling through my own personal feed and I'll see a mural in the background of somebody that, you know, I don't really have a connection to, and it's kind of cool to see that.
Well, we think it's had a real positive impact. A lot of people notice it, comment on it, come in the store, want to know about it, so we're real thrilled to think it's really good work.
Another thing too that I can say about Plaza Walls is that there are now businesses back there. They have their front door literally in this alleyway that previously was just an alleyway.
The Bowie Geronimo piece was going up outside of our door. I mean, there was probably around 30 different people just kind of swarming around as the piece was being installed, and ever since then, and even before then, every week people are just kind of walking back here and checking out the art, and just really draws back a huge number of people.
Yeah, it really engages community. It really has changed the landscape of what Western looks like. We have 7+ murals in just a small 3-mile stretch here. And so what we're really wanting to do in Oklahoma City and in districts like these are really change and engage people, not just with stuff that we don't choose to see, like billboards and signs. You don't get an option for that. If the city permits those, the business can put that up. What we're wanting to do is we're wanting to produce art and inspire and change people, change their mindset, you know, activate a flat space.
The management process is through basically the artists go to the location. If they have never been a part of it, if they've never been invited, they've never been a part of one of our events, then they can call us or email us. After that, the next step is to get permission from us. We need the artist to sign a VERA waiver for the city to document that they basically give away the rights to their arts for removal if needed.
We took the opportunity to put a call to artists out. We got those responses, and then the first year we connected each artist with another artist and had them produce these murals in locations that were permitted through the city, and they got to choose what they wanted to do. We passed it through the business owner, but really this was an opportunity for the artists to shine.
The art that has been infused across Oklahoma City, whether it's in a sculpture, paintings, gallery, performances, whether live, theater, I mean, it has had a true impact. And it has also helped us change the dynamic of like the age groups down here, the way that people view our city. It has added so much color and life, both inside and outside of these once sterile places. And I think that art is a very important part, and artists and the people behind that art are a very important part to creating any district, because I mean, think about that takes a lot of vision to imagine that before you have that, and to not incorporate those kinds of people in a development like that is wrong. It's important to have them.
I think it's important to look for the good in everything. So even when things aren't going well, when you have an event that not very many people show up to, you know, there's a few people there and that matters that they came. Even if a business isn't doing so well, you have the opportunity to help that business and help them grow. So there's good in everything. If there's a business in your district that looks junky, find the thing that looks great in that business and focus on it.
Things are popular and then they're not, and things are, you know, interesting to the public and then they're not. So you just kind of you've got to evolve with what is happening in your community.
The things that that people should keep in mind when things are not going well. I mean, it comes back to everything else. It's empathy, it's compassion, it's walk away. You know, maybe There are certain things that, you know, maybe seem appropriate in the moment, but will be regrettable later. And having an awareness that everybody's goals are different, that doesn't mean they're necessarily invalid. It just means they're looking at something a little differently.
The first H&As actually got shut down by the Able Commission. The Able Commission, because of some misunderstandings and miscommunications between organization and the government, the Able Commission decided that they didn't like what was happening, so they came in and showed up in full TAC team gear and shut down the event. The interesting thing that happened as a result of that, which this is actually a really good part of the story, the city got involved. When the city got involved, they got involved to be able to sit down and go, here's what really needs to happen. And they helped to kind of make sure that communication really happened. They helped to really make sure that everybody knew what was going on. They tried to keep everybody on the same page. It changed everything, changed the demeanor of everything.
The advice I would have for other communities that want to revitalize a district is to think small, but with a mind towards growth. I think every good district at some point had a single tenant or a single organization that says, look, I'm going to take a chance or take a risk. Every city is going to be a little different. Oklahoma City has been, you know, growing by leaps and bounds, and, you know, people want to find things to do. But, you know, being able to look at a district and say, you know, is there some promise here? Is there somebody here with a passion that would be interested in improving this area? And then how do we put the things in place really to support that?
Let's not become islands unto ourselves. Let's not stoke animosity between competitors.
The best advice I can give another district is you have to have patience. You have to go through the process. There are a lot of big mistakes we could have made. There are going to be a lot of boring moments and a lot of tedious times of just information gathering and sharing and discussion, and you're going to be like, all right already, when are we going to get on with this? Trust me, go through those steps. If we had not done that, we would not have the momentum that we have today, nor would we have the district that we have today. So go through those steps and have patience.
As a director of the Plaza District, I have to wear a lot of hats, more hats than I ever thought I would have to wear. Financing and budgets and accounting and that kind of thing, to events and programming and marketing, to really just managing personalities and managing other people.
So a few pieces of advice for other district efforts is to remember that it's not overnight. The association started in 2007, and the growth of the district really has happened towards the end of this process. And so it's a really slow process if it's done right.
I think getting everybody within the area together and talking about it and kind of figuring out who wants to do what and how valuable that is often overlooked. You really do need everybody that is in the community.
I think that if anybody ever wants to put on an event like that, that they should always focus on that same aspect of working with their neighbors and people that are already in their environment. You can have corporate sponsors that give you money, and that's great and everything, but that's advertising them. That's not advertising your neighbors. It's not advertising, you know, the people you work closely with, emerging artists, emerging, you know, businesses and restaurants. And I think people should always look to that first. It's what made our event successful, I believe.
Great events aren't built because we want to win. Great events are built because we want to do something great. It's not a race, it's not a contest. There's not a winner. But if we're jerks, then there sure are a bunch of losers. So let's do this together. I'd much rather do it that way.
Doing something with something that someone else built and created, we're kind of standing on the shoulders of those who came before us. And I think it's important to respect that and embrace that and encourage people to continue that sense of push that our forefathers had. And that is what you're seeing across our cityscape now. I mean, we're literally rising up. We're building new skyscrapers and new construction all the time. We have this amazing NBA team and talks of so much more coming our way. So we're literally a city on the rise.
You can't just look at a problem and let it pass by. You have to really be active and considerate in all things that you are doing and put in the work. You have to put in the work.
Another piece of advice is just to not compare your district to other districts. There's so many great things going on in our city, and all the district managers are doing a great job. They're making things happen, and so it's easy to see something another district does and either be jealous or wish that you had thought of it first. But just remember to stay true to your own area and the people that you're representing, and do what feels right for your district, and just to focus on your growth while supporting these other districts in their growth.
You know, Live on the Plaza and the Plaza Festival and all the things that happen there, it's like they're great community partners. They're great people that they cheer for us, we cheer for them. They've been super helpful to us because, you know, there's lots of ways that they're way smarter than we are. There are lots of ways that they've done things that we never even thought about because they existed before us. We learned from them. And in the midst of all that, there's, again, it's a reminder, it's the all ships rise together thing.
It's not about the things, it's about the people. And how do you showcase the people that are there? How do you lift up the people that are there? And really make it about them and what they're doing rather than about a new building or a new streetscape or, you know, something of that nature.
I think that's really unique in Oklahoma, that you're not trying to one-up one another, but rather you want everybody to do well, and you want to go experience everyone's festival and everyone's food truck event, so that not only are you learning ideas for your own event, but you're creating a sense of greater community than what would be achievable if we were all doing our own things without collaboration.
All of the districts really do work well with each other. We meet about quarterly, and a lot of the district directors know each other personally, and we really try hard to help each other out with each other's events, make sure that we're not overlapping any events.
Let's make great things, not necessarily big things, because great things make a difference. Sometimes big things just make a mess.
Get to know your town. Get out of the house, park the car, walk around it, enjoy it, explore and examine and photograph and share and talk about it. And if there's something really cool that you think of doing with a space, then just try it. You'd be surprised what people will embrace. And I guess the sky is the limit with your dream here.